Ladies and gentlemen, imagine giving your heart, your time, your energy, and your very soul to someone, believing they would always stay by your side, and then they walk away. It's a moment that shakes you to your core, a moment that feels like the world has shifted beneath your feet. But what if I told you that in that very moment, in that heartbreak, lies the greatest lesson you will ever learn about yourself, your strength, and your purpose? Today, we're going to uncover how loss can become your teacher, how pain can become your fuel, and how the one who walked away may have unknowingly shown you the way to your greatest growth. When you give everything to someone, it feels like you are investing in them completely, pouring your time, energy, heart, and soul into the relationship. You think that the more you give, the stronger the connection will become, and the more certain it is that the other person will stay. But the truth is, life has a way of showing us that no matter how much we give, the responsibility of holding our own worth and building our own life always rests with us. The first lesson in understanding the value of self-investment is realizing that your energy, your focus, and your dedication are most powerful when they are invested in yourself first. When you dedicate yourself to growth, to learning, to building skills, to developing discipline, and to understanding who you are at your core, you create an unshakable foundation that cannot be taken away by someone else's choices. This foundation becomes the very measure of your strength, the part of you that remains untouched even when the person you love walks away. Giving to someone else is not a waste when it comes from a place of fullness rather than emptiness. When you give because you are already whole, your contribution has clarity, and it can never define your self-worth or deplete your identity. You must understand that being complete in yourself makes you a force that others are drawn to, rather than a dependency that others can abandon. Investing in yourself means understanding that your value is not tied to validation from someone else. When you give all of yourself to someone else, it's easy to mistake their presence as proof of your worth. You might feel that if they stay, you are enough; if they leave, you are not. But self-investment teaches a different truth, that your worth is inherent, that your energy, your time, and your love are precious resources that deserve respect and careful allocation. When you cultivate your mind, your body, your skills, and your emotional strength, you create a version of yourself that is unshakable in the face of loss. Every effort you make towards self-improvement becomes an investment that compounds over time, and unlike relying on someone else's affection, the returns are yours to claim. You build a life that is rich in purpose, not dependent on external approval. You learn to recognize that giving to someone else should complement your life, not complete it, because a life that is whole from within has resilience that no heartbreak can destroy. Part of this process is recognizing the difference between giving for connection and giving for acceptance. When your giving comes from a desire to be seen, to be validated, or to secure someone's loyalty, it carries vulnerability in a way that can be risky. But when your giving comes from strength, from a grounded sense of self, it is powerful without being desperate. You can give freely, fully, and with love, knowing that the act of giving is a reflection of your abundance, not your need. Self-investment means that even if the one you gave everything to walks away, you do not walk with emptiness. Your energy has been cultivated, your skills have grown, and your heart remains strong because it was rooted in self-respect and self-awareness. This perspective changes the meaning of loss entirely. Loss becomes not a measure of your failure, but a measure of your capacity to love without surrendering your identity. In practical terms, investing in yourself requires discipline, patience, and focus. It means spending time developing your passions, nurturing your health, sharpening your mind, and building relationships that honor and support you. It also means learning to say no to things, people, and situations that drain you or undermine your growth. It is a conscious effort to prioritize your own evolution, knowing that as you grow, your ability to contribute meaningfully to others also grows. The act of self-investment transforms your giving from a gamble into an expression of abundance. You give because you have, not because you hope to receive. This mindset protects you from heartbreak and sets you up for relationships that are reciprocal, healthy, and empowering. Ultimately, the value of self-investment lies in the power it gives you to stand strong when others leave. It ensures that even when someone who meant everything to you walks away, you are left standing in your own power, richer in experience and unshaken in your worth. You learn that your life, your energy, and your potential are not defined by anyone else's decisions. When you invest in yourself, every challenge becomes an opportunity, every setback a lesson, and every heartbreak a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more grounded in the unshakable truth of who you are. The pain of betrayal is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry, and it often comes unexpectedly, striking when you least suspect it. When you give your heart, your trust, and your energy to someone, you do it with the belief that they will value it, honor it, and reciprocate it. You operate on the assumption that loyalty, love, and respect are mutual, and when those assumptions are broken, the weight of betrayal lands with a force that can shake your sense of reality. It is not just the act of someone walking away or turning against you. It is the deep sting of realizing that the person you invested in perhaps more than you have invested in anyone else does not carry the same reverence for your bond. Betrayal teaches you that trust is not a guarantee, that intentions can be hidden behind smiles, and that even the people we let closest to our hearts can falter or fail us in ways we never imagined. Feeling betrayed is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you cared deeply, that you were willing to risk vulnerability, and that your capacity to love and invest in others is real and profound. The pain of betrayal is often compounded by the inner dialogue that follows. You replay moments in your mind, questioning your judgment, analyzing every action, and wondering if you missed some warning sign. This introspection, while painful, is a necessary step in understanding human behavior and in understanding yourself. It forces you to confront the realities of relationships, that no matter how much you give, no one is guaranteed to stay or behave the way you hope. It is in this crucible of hurt that you learn one of the most important truths. The betrayal of someone else is never a reflection of your value, but a reflection of their choices, their limitations, and sometimes their inability to see or honor what you brought into their life. Betrayal also reveals the hidden strength within you. At first, it may feel as though your heart has been shattered into irreparable pieces, but the reality is that each fragment contains lessons that build resilience. Pain is an equalizer. It humbles the strong and challenges the confident, but it is also a teacher. You come to see that heartbreak, no matter how intense, is temporary, and that you possess the ability to survive, rebuild, and thrive even after being let down by the person you thought would never leave. The raw experience of betrayal forces you to reevaluate your boundaries, to question who deserves your time and energy, and to understand that protecting yourself is not selfish but necessary. It is in those moments of deep hurt that self-awareness grows, and the clarity about what you will and will not tolerate becomes undeniable. There is also a certain liberation hidden in the pain of betrayal. While the moment of loss feels like an ending, it often marks the beginning of a new chapter where your awareness and discernment become sharper. You begin to understand that life's journey is not about controlling others' actions, but about controlling your response, your energy, and your trajectory. The pain of betrayal makes you more empathetic, not in a way that excuses wrongdoing, but in a way that teaches you that everyone carries their own struggles, limitations, and reasons for failing to honor commitments. At the same time, it strengthens your resolve to never compromise your values or self-respect to prevent someone else from leaving. You learn that protecting your heart is as important as giving it, and that walking away from someone who does not value you is a form of courage, not weakness. Emotionally, betrayal forces a reckoning with vulnerability. Vulnerability is both the doorway to love and the source of pain when trust is broken, and it teaches the delicate balance between openness and wisdom. Being betrayed reminds you that not everyone who comes into your life will remain, and not everyone who claims to care will act with integrity. It is a stark reminder that the depth of your investment in others should never exceed the foundation of investment in yourself. When you place your own growth, self-respect, and vision at the center of your life, the sting of betrayal still hurts, but it does not destroy. It becomes a catalyst, a force that propels you to cultivate strength, independence, and clarity about what you deserve. Ultimately, the pain of betrayal, while sharp and often overwhelming, is transformative. It teaches lessons that comfort, success, and mutual trust cannot. It exposes truth, strengthens resilience, and clarifies what matters most in relationships. While it is never easy to face, it is one of life's most honest teachers, demanding that you confront reality, honor yourself, and rise from the ashes of disappointment with a renewed sense of purpose, dignity, and awareness. Loss is never easy. It carries a weight that feels impossible to shake, and when it involves someone you gave everything to, it can feel like the ground has been pulled out from beneath you. Yet, the very essence of loss is not merely in the absence or the leaving. It lies in the lessons it leaves behind, waiting for you to uncover them. Every time someone walks away, every time trust is broken, or every time a relationship ends despite your devotion, there is a hidden curriculum that life is presenting. The first lesson in loss is the recognition that nothing external can define your worth. When someone who meant the world to you leaves, it is tempting to internalize it as a reflection of your value, to think that perhaps you were not enough, not lovable, or not worthy. But loss is not a verdict on who you are. It is a mirror reflecting the reality of alignment, timing, and choice. People leave for countless reasons, most of which are not about you. Some leave because of their limitations, fears, or inability to grow alongside you. Others leave because they are not prepared to honor the depth of what you give. The lesson here is that your worth is inherent and unchanging, and it exists independent of anyone's recognition or affection. Beyond self-worth, loss teaches the critical skill of discernment. When you experience heartbreak or disappointment, you are forced to examine the dynamics of the relationships in your life, to understand who truly adds value and who depletes your energy. This awareness is crucial because it prevents you from repeating patterns that lead to pain. Through loss, you learn to recognize red flags early, to understand the importance of reciprocity, and to value people who actively contribute to your growth rather than drain your spirit. Each ending, each betrayal, and each act of abandonment becomes a guidepost, helping you refine your instincts and sharpen your judgment. Loss transforms into a teacher that equips you with clarity, helping you make better choices about who you allow into your inner circle and how much of yourself you invest in others. Another powerful lesson in loss is the understanding of resilience. Experiencing the departure of someone you love exposes your vulnerabilities, yet it also reveals the depth of your strength. The pain may feel overwhelming at first, but with time it teaches you that you can survive heartbreak, rebuild, and thrive despite adversity. Resilience is not developed in comfort or ease. It is forged in the fire of disappointment, grief, and sorrow. Each setback, each instance of loss, strengthens your capacity to endure, to rise, and to continue moving forward with purpose. Loss teaches that strength is not the absence of pain, but the ability to confront it, learn from it, and emerge more grounded, aware, and capable than before. Loss also emphasizes the impermanence of circumstances and relationships. It forces you to confront the reality that nothing in life is guaranteed, and the only constants are growth, change, and your own actions. This lesson encourages you to be intentional with your time and energy, to appreciate the present, and to avoid clinging to people or situations that are not mutually sustaining. When you embrace this principle, you begin to understand that endings are not always tragic. Sometimes they are necessary for new beginnings. They create space for better opportunities, healthier relationships, and experiences that align more closely with your purpose. In addition, loss teaches humility and empathy. When you are on the receiving end of departure or betrayal, you are reminded that human beings are flawed, imperfect, and sometimes unable to meet the expectations of others. This understanding cultivates compassion, not for those who hurt you necessarily, but for the complexity of human behavior. You learn to approach life with a balanced perspective, recognizing that disappointment is part of the human experience and that everyone is navigating their own struggles. It encourages patience, reflection, and the practice of not taking actions or choices of others personally, while still protecting your own heart. Finally, loss imparts the invaluable lesson of self-reliance and purpose. When someone walks away, it forces you to lean into yourself, to discover your own strength, and to reclaim the energy you once poured into another. You learn that your life, your goals, and your growth cannot depend on anyone else. This lesson encourages you to redirect your energy towards self-improvement, to focus on your ambitions, and to cultivate a life that thrives independently. Loss, in its most profound sense, becomes a catalyst for self-mastery, teaching that the deepest fulfillment comes from within and that no one can diminish your potential unless you allow it. Resilience is the quiet force that carries you through the storms of life, the unspoken power that allows you to rise after being knocked down, and the inner strength that emerges when you face challenges that seem unbearable. It is the muscle of the mind and spirit, built through experience, tested through adversity, and strengthened through the conscious choice to keep moving forward, even when the path feels uncertain. Strength, in this sense, is not just physical, it is emotional, mental, and spiritual. It is the ability to endure pain, to hold your ground in the face of betrayal, and to continue investing in yourself even when others have walked away. Every time someone you gave everything to leaves, it shakes your sense of stability, but it also presents an opportunity to cultivate resilience. You learn that the power to withstand loss, disappointment, and heartbreak lies within you, not in the presence of another person. Developing resilience begins with acknowledging that pain is an inevitable part of life, and that avoiding it or pretending it does not exist only prolongs suffering. The person who walks away is not the destroyer of your life. They are the mirror reflecting the need for inner strength and self-reliance. When you accept pain as part of the human experience, you stop viewing setbacks as failures and start seeing them as lessons in endurance. You recognize that the world does not owe you permanence or loyalty, and that your power comes from your ability to adapt, recover, and continue pursuing your purpose regardless of external circumstances. In this way, resilience is not about avoiding hardship, it is about embracing it as a teacher, learning from it, and allowing it to shape a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Strength and resilience are closely intertwined with self-discipline. It is one thing to feel hurt or disappointed, but it is another to take control of your response, your energy, and your actions. When someone who meant everything to you walks away, it is easy to spiral into anger, self-doubt, or despair. But the resilient person refuses to let circumstances dictate their inner state. They understand that emotional mastery is a form of power, that holding on to dignity and composure is a declaration of self-worth, and that growth emerges from the ability to act despite pain. Every challenge, every heartbreak, and every loss becomes a stepping stone for personal evolution, building a foundation of mental toughness that cannot be shaken by future disappointments. Resilience also requires a shift in perspective. The most resilient individuals do not define themselves by what others do or fail to do. They understand that walking away is often more about the other person's limitations than their own shortcomings. This realization allows them to release bitterness, anger, and resentment, replacing these destructive emotions with clarity and determination. Strength is cultivated in the ability to channel energy away from what has been lost and into what can be built. It is the conscious decision to turn pain into fuel, to transform setbacks into motivation, and to use adversity as a catalyst for becoming a more capable, focused, and purposeful version of yourself. Another crucial aspect of resilience is patience. Growth and strength are rarely instantaneous. They are earned through consistent effort, reflection, and perseverance. When you experience the departure of someone you love deeply, the immediate reaction may be chaos, confusion, and grief. But over time, resilience grows through small victories, the ability to get out of bed, the ability to focus on your goals, the ability to maintain composure and continue moving forward. Each of these seemingly minor acts compounds into a deeper, more enduring strength. Resilience is built in the everyday choices to prioritize your well-being, to nurture your skills, and to honor your own journey, even when external support is absent. Furthermore, resilience strengthens the sense of purpose. When someone leaves, the void they leave behind can either be filled with despair or with determination. Those who cultivate true resilience choose the latter. They use the energy that was once invested in someone else to invest in themselves, their ambitions, passions, and personal growth. They recognize that their life is theirs alone, and that the capacity to thrive does not rely on the presence of anyone else. Every setback becomes a lesson in independence, every disappointment an opportunity to rise higher, and every heartbreak a reminder that strength is forged in the fires of challenge. Ultimately, resilience and strength are inseparable from self-respect, clarity, and the unwavering belief that you have the capacity to endure and thrive. They are the forces that transform loss into wisdom, pain into determination, and adversity into opportunity. Resilience is not the absence of struggle. It is the mastery of how you face it, rise from it, and continue walking forward with dignity, purpose, and an unshakable belief in yourself. Self-worth is the invisible currency that determines how you navigate life, how you allow yourself to be treated, and how you measure your own value in relationships, work, and personal growth. When someone you gave everything to walks away, it can feel like the foundation of your worth has been shaken. You might begin questioning yourself, wondering if you were not enough, if you could have done more, or if your love and effort somehow failed. This is the exact moment where self-worth awareness becomes not just important, but essential. True self-worth is not contingent on the actions, decisions, or presence of others. It is an internal recognition of your value, a steady understanding that you are enough simply because you exist, and a refusal to let external events define your identity or your capacity to thrive. The journey to self-worth awareness begins with acknowledging that your life, your energy, and your love are precious resources. It requires a conscious shift from seeking validation outside of yourself to cultivating affirmation within. When you invest in someone else completely, it is easy to blur the lines between your value and their recognition of it. You give, hoping they will see, reciprocate, or appreciate, and when they don't, you may internalize it as a reflection of inadequacy. But the truth is that other people's inability to honor your worth does not diminish it. Their choices are a reflection of their own perspectives, limitations, and capacities, not a measure of your significance. Self-worth awareness teaches you to stand firm in this understanding, to respect your own contributions, and to refuse to tie your identity to someone else's approval. Developing self-worth requires a deep understanding of boundaries. It means learning to discern who deserves your time, energy, and love, and who does not. When you recognize your value, you begin to see that not everyone is capable of honoring it. This realization does not lead to bitterness. Instead, it fosters clarity and empowerment. You stop chasing validation, stop overextending yourself for people who do not reciprocate, and stop compromising your dignity in the pursuit of someone else's presence. Each act of self-respect reinforces the recognition that your worth is inherent and non-negotiable. By setting boundaries, you protect your energy, safeguard your heart, and create space for relationships that are reciprocal, respectful, and nurturing. Self-worth awareness also encourages reflection and growth. When someone leaves or betrays your trust, it is easy to feel diminished, but a strong sense of self-worth turns this experience into a moment of learning. You examine the relationship objectively, identifying patterns, lessons, and areas where you can grow without blaming yourself unnecessarily. You learn to distinguish between constructive introspection and self-criticism, understanding that recognizing areas for personal development does not mean that you are unworthy. It means you are committed to becoming the best version of yourself. This approach transforms disappointment into wisdom and loss into a catalyst for self-improvement. Moreover, self-worth awareness fosters independence and resilience. When your sense of value is anchored within, you are no longer dependent on anyone else to affirm it. You can walk away from relationships that no longer serve you with confidence rather than desperation. You can embrace solitude without fear, understanding that being alone does not equate to being unloved or unworthy. Independence in this context is not about isolation. It is about freedom, the freedom to define your own life, to pursue your own goals, and to maintain your dignity regardless of external circumstances. The stronger your self-worth, the more empowered you are to make choices that align with your true values and long-term growth. Another vital aspect of self-worth awareness is the recognition of your contributions and achievements. It is easy to downplay your efforts or to feel that what you offer is insignificant, especially when someone you cared for walks away. But understanding your self-worth means honoring your own work, dedication, and love without needing external validation. Every act of kindness, every moment of support, and every bit of energy you invested matters. It builds the person you are becoming and strengthens your capacity to give meaningfully in the future. Self-worth is about valuing your own journey and acknowledging that your life has inherent purpose, regardless of who chooses to stay or leave. Ultimately, self-worth awareness transforms how you experience life and relationships. It gives you the power to navigate loss without losing yourself, to maintain your dignity when others fail to appreciate it, and to channel your energy into growth rather than resentment. It allows you to understand that while someone may walk away, your value remains intact, unshaken, and immeasurable. Through self-worth awareness, you learn that the most important relationship you have is with yourself, and that honoring it is the key to living a life of strength, clarity, and purpose. Forward movement is the lifeblood of personal growth. It is the conscious decision to continue progressing, learning, and building even when life deals you moments of heartbreak, disappointment, or betrayal. When the one you gave everything to walks away, it can feel as if time stops, as if the world has lost its color, and as if your efforts, love, and loyalty were all in vain. But the truth is that life never waits for anyone to catch up, and the power to move forward is always within your grasp. Forward movement begins with the realization that you are responsible for your own life, your own growth, and your own happiness. No one else can define your purpose, determine your direction, or dictate the measure of your success. When someone leaves, it creates a void, but within that void exists a profound opportunity, the chance to redirect your energy toward your own evolution, to harness the lessons of loss, and to step into the life you were meant to build. Purpose is what gives forward movement its meaning. Without purpose, motion becomes directionless and energy is wasted on distraction or regret. When someone who once held your heart walks away, it is easy to feel unmoored, but purpose anchors you. It reminds you that your life has value, that your skills, talents, and vision are significant, and that your energy is better spent creating rather than dwelling on what has been lost. Purpose transforms pain into fuel. It turns the ache of loss into a source of clarity, motivation, and resolve. By defining your purpose, you create a compass that guides your steps, ensuring that every action, decision, and effort aligns with your highest goals and your truest self. Forward movement requires courage. It is not easy to keep walking when your heart feels heavy, when memories cling like shadows, and when the temptation to stop, retreat, or surrender feels strong. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the commitment to act in spite of it. Each step you take after someone leaves is an act of defiance against despair, a declaration that your life will not be controlled by others' choices, and a testament to your ability to rise above disappointment. Courage is the engine of forward movement, and purpose is the fuel that sustains it. Together, they allow you to transform what could have been a defining loss into a defining moment of empowerment. Another key aspect of forward movement is focus. When someone who mattered walks away, it is easy to become consumed by what-ifs and if-onlys. Your mind replays conversations, analyzes decisions, and fixates on possibilities that can no longer exist. While reflection can be useful, obsession is paralyzing. Purpose-driven forward movement teaches you to redirect your focus onto what you can control, your actions, your growth, and your future. It emphasizes that dwelling on the past is a luxury that comes at the cost of progress. Every minute spent ruminating is a minute not invested in yourself, your dreams, or your evolving vision of the life you want to create. By concentrating on the things within your power, you reclaim agency over your own journey and prevent loss from becoming stagnation. Forward movement also requires adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and relationships are a reflection of that uncertainty. People leave, circumstances change, and plans sometimes fail. Resilience, self-awareness, and purpose allow you to navigate these shifts with grace and clarity. You learn to bend without breaking, to adjust your steps while keeping your vision intact, and to continue advancing even when the terrain becomes challenging. The ability to adapt ensures that loss does not become the end of your story, but rather a turning point that strengthens your resolve and sharpens your perspective. Purpose-driven forward movement transforms loss into creation. Every ending becomes an opportunity to build something new, a stronger version of yourself, a more focused career, a healthier mindset, or a life aligned with your values. It emphasizes that while you cannot control the actions of others, you can always control how you respond. Energy that might have been spent on regret can be redirected to self-improvement, learning new skills, pursuing passions, and cultivating meaningful relationships that honor your worth. Forward movement is a form of self-respect. It is a declaration that you are not defined by who leaves, but by how you continue to rise. Ultimately, forward movement and purpose are inseparable. Purpose gives direction, meaning, and motivation, while forward movement is the action that transforms intent into reality. Together, they allow you to take the lessons of heartbreak, loss, and disappointment and convert them into fuel for a life of growth, fulfillment, and impact. Even when someone who once meant everything walks away, the ability to move forward ensures that your life continues to evolve, your energy remains aligned with your highest goals, and your journey becomes a testament to your strength, resilience, and unwavering commitment to yourself. In the end, the one you gave everything to walking away is not a mark of your failure. It is a lesson in strength, clarity, and self-mastery. Life has a way of testing us, challenging us to rise above heartbreak, and reminding us that our true power lies within. Every experience of loss, betrayal, or disappointment carries a gift. The chance to recognize your worth, build resilience, sharpen your focus, and move forward with purpose. You learn that your life, your energy, and your potential are yours alone, and that no one else's choices can diminish them. What you give to others is meaningful, but what you build within yourself is eternal. Carry these lessons with you, and let every ending fuel your journey to becoming the strongest, most empowered version of yourself. Good luck on your journey of growth and self-discovery. Remember that every step you take forward, no matter how small, is a victory, and every challenge is an opportunity to rise higher. Thank you for listening, for believing in yourself, and for embracing the power within you to turn heartbreak into purpose and pain into unstoppable progress.